take something back from the developer, and that is the public service item. So you've completely ignored that item of it. That we are going to.
It doesn't help the community. What you take back from the developer, it doesn't help.
You know, the other thing is...
I'm not going to... Okay, you can cut off the camera now. I don't think we're going to make any...
Earl Phillips is director of the Houston Housing Authority. He grew up in a housing project in Newark, New Jersey. In the 60s, he led a fight against relocation. Subsequently, he's been employed by housing authorities across the country. We began by asking him how far along he was in the process of demolishing Allen Parkway Village.
We have to notify all of the residents and give them a reasonable amount of time to respond to the determination that was made by the board. And then the board, once receiving whatever responses, take those into serious consideration, reviewing them, and then making a determination. The one large group that we received responses from, over 200, were signatures that we received from, and a cover letter representing 200 Indo-Chinese families that said that they were supportive of the demolition, and they wanted the Housing Authority Board of Commissioners to very seriously consider making some facilities available through the auspices of our subsidized housing program, the Section 8 existing housing programs. And we have been talking in the past with a couple of developers, specifically one Indo-Chinese developer that is in the process of developing some low and moderate income housing on a tract of land not far from the airport.
Who was the cover letter from?
The cover letter was signed by the representatives of the Archdiocese.
Okay.
And
this is something that's sponsored by the church, then?
No, it's not. The development is not sponsored by the church. The development is...
the letters, the collection of letters.
Yes, and it was signed by a representative of the Archdiocese. Okay. And we have that information, and we have all of the signed signatures of the individuals.
You know, one of the things that even your own report talks about, and that is that possibly the Indo-Chinese were put in here to make it possible to make the demolition of Allen Parkway Village easier. I think it's just I don't mind quoting it.
No, and it's not. I don't even think it's necessary that you have to find a quote. I'm very familiar with that, and of course I was not here at that time, nor were any of my commissioners. So I can't say one way or the other. Nor was Kathy Whitmire, the mayor of the city of Houston at that time. But it's speculative that this perhaps was one of the reasons for the movement of individuals into this area that were non-black and non-Hispanic, because of the lack of a politicizing of that population.
We have on film another process going on where I saw maybe 200 Indo-Chinese here at the community center who were coming to sign letters to going to HUD asking that the place not be demolished, and also asking the ACLU if they would come in and plead their cases, say on issues like being evicted, on issues like improving their conditions. I mean, so that,
well, let me
to say that it was just too, I mean, we're now going to have conflicting evidences because you have 200 signatures asking for a place.
I cannot address the comments that you just made relative to you saw 200 people signing a form saying that they wanted the ACLU to come in and to address this situation. I know nothing about that. Maybe that's something that Mr. Johnson can respond to.
Well, you were there.
I know absolutely nothing about
did that happen?
Yes, that did happen. Tenants here in Allen Parkway Village and a resident councilman did sign 200 letters in opposition to the demolition of Allen Parkway Village.
Well, I
We
have not.
received 200 letters from one meeting.
Can I ask you why you haven't forwarded copies of those letters to us, or forward a letter to us and advised us that was the case?
As far as forwarding copies, your spirit of cooperation refused to let me use the copy machine to copy the letters and send them to you. So therefore, we haven't been able to send you a copy,
Right.
and we cannot afford to send you a copy right now.
Well, I'll even accept one letter from you, signed by you as the president, stating that these individuals had signed those petitions. I have not received that.
One's in the working.
Okay. All I know is that I'm facing a situation right now that is saying to me that the situation has to be corrected, and it has to be corrected in the best interest of those residents that are living in Allen Parkway Village. It's not about any politicizing. It's not about doing something because some developers want to get a hold of the land. It's not about that at all. It's not about turning an area over that was previously black to white folks so that they can control it and extend the downtown. It's not about that at all. It's about turning a piece of property into something that's going to be beneficial for low and moderate income people, as well as some kind of an economic mix. And that's been our thrust in public housing since I've been in this city, as well as the new board that's been in operation under the leadership of H.J. Tollett, and that will continue to be our thrust.
As far as Allen Parkway Village itself, we think, especially the resident council think, and members who looked at that, think it was a serious goal inflated cost analysis for rehabbing Allen Parkway Village. And one of the things that has upset me greatly is when the expert in housing, in public housing, tells an influential group like the League of Women Voters that the cost for rehabilitation of Allen Parkway Village is not just the approximately $40,000 unit cited in the report, but it could be 2 or 3 times more than that. $120,000 for rehabbing anything, it won't fit, because that is a brand new house in the suburbs somewhere.
Who said this to the League of Women Voters?
You did. Last fall,
I
when
don't
they
remember
had
saying that to the League of Women Voters.
when they had the forum on Fourth Ward and Allen Parkway Village.
Were you at that meeting?
Yes, I was.
And I said that it was going to be 3 times.
It would possibly 2 or 3 times that amount. That cost is just the things that they see from the outside. That
And
$40,000.
that's very true. That's very true, Lenwood. I mean, we don't know the cost of things that are the underground lines until you get in there and recognize how difficult, the kind of problems that you may encounter. I mean, you can't tell that from a naked eye above the ground. That's just not correct. I think the report just speaks for itself.
I think you
really
can't.
do. I think
If you're
the report speaks for itself.
the experts, and we will show you before it's done with, that your figures are gold-plated. If you're an expert, you know how much it's going to cost to do certain things. I mean, you could build, at a $120,000 unit, you could build a fabulous condominium. And so we know those prices are inflated. We know they are. We feel that they were tilted in favor of demolition. So you make the rehabbing costs so high that it's not feasible to rehab. So that leaves you the other alternate proposal to go to. We've seen this happen many times before and other things, where the very item that you do not want, you inflate by some means, or you make it unattractive by some means. But because these buildings are structurally sound, that leaves only utilities, and specifically talking about Allen Parkway Village, that leaves your roof, and that leaves, could be some interior work. We are not asking for River Oak standard. We are asking for a safe, decent, and sanitary place to live with a clean environment without harassment from management. That's all.
We had just 2 weeks left to film. We wanted to check out Garcia's plan with the landlords in the 4th Ward. and to check Phillips' 200 letters with the Vietnamese priest in Allen Parkway Village. We asked Mrs. Corso of Metropolitan Development about Garcia's plan. She said it was the only practical way of developing the area, but that the timing was bad because of the depressed economy in downtown Houston. Lenwood raised the issue of people with Mrs. Corso.
Well, and I think that is certainly an issue that has to be addressed. And it's certainly something that has to be considered, and people are the most important thing there. I agree with all of that. But those people are not living in good conditions there. And I think that some alternate place for them to live and have a better quality of life is what needs to be done. Now, Mr. Garcia seems to have answers for those kinds of things. I don't know if your study went into that, or if it's an answer that your people are happy with. But he thinks that the better thing to do is to subsidize their rent, since that seems to be necessary, and have them live wherever they want to live. If that be the case, wouldn't these people be better off to be just sort of mixed in with the rest of our society in the city, rather than be kept in a ghetto-type situation as they are now? How do you feel about that?
I don't know. Say, for instance, that for some reason you live in an apartment complex and I was subsidized next door to you.
Mm-hmm.
One child, I don't know what effect it will have on my child. If I bring him next door to you, your kids have all these video games and whatnot. My income will not afford those things. I'm wondering, would it be a positive effect on him, a negative effect on him mentally?
Well, I would think it could be a positive effect, and the reason I say that is, for instance, I came over from Italy as a young person, and many of our friends and relatives had been here, were established, and had all of the games and the toys you're talking about, and I didn't. Well, what that did for me was to want to go out and get some for myself.
Well, what's that?
That's positive.
Mm-hmm. What is done in South America is, because of the media, is fermenting revolution. In some instances in urban cities, some commentators say it ferments crime too. And that's the reason for so much of your crime.
Well, but the fact that they're there together and and they have in common with the rest of their associates that they're all poor and none of them have anything, does that give them any motivation to do better in their life? Does that give them any motivation to become part of the quote-unquote successful society?
Well, we have a lot of students in Fort Ward, and because of the low rent, the families are able to send them to college. Mm-hmm. And they go to University of Houston, Texas Southern, and whatnot.
But what I keep hearing over and over is the fear that comes and the anxiety that comes with moving and doing something different from what you're doing now. And whereas I understand it, I think that the only way that these people are going to better themselves is to overcome that fear and make that move and get out of there and look to a better life.
On Sunday, March 11th, Reverend Smith's church, Mount Horeb Baptist Church, burned to the ground. There was some concern that this would be another step to the further dissolution of the neighborhood. Lenwood spoke to the young men of the congregation working in the ruins.
There's a lot of roots here. We went to school. Just all we know is Fourth Ward. And for them to come and tear it down, to put high rises and that type of thing, I think it's detrimental. It doesn't say much for our city.
You know, it can be stopped. Yeah. We've looked at situations all over this country, from Seattle, Washington to Washington, D.C., from Florida all the way up to New York.
Well, yeah, it can be stopped.
But it takes a concerted effort on behalf of the community. What do y'all think about setting up a non-profit group for the preservation of the Fourth Ward?
I think that would be great. What I don't understand is the fact that if you look out in the Heights and out in the Montrose area, you see houses. They move from Fourth Ward. I know of houses they move from Fourth Ward, and I can put my finger on them. And I mean, they've been totally renovated, and I mean, just they look excellent. And I just don't understand why, the city can't put money into doing this type of thing.
If we could get us a private group for preservation of Fourth Ward, and nonprofit, and buy up key lots, we could block them out. There are certain funds available. and we can get those funds matched, we can buy key lots, just key lots, just enough to block.
But you have to look at the whole origination point of this for the Life Fourth Ward. I mean, the red tape that's going to be involved, and everything is being done now to block all type of movements or anything to preserve Fourth Ward. And then you go in talking about capital, actual money, you're in another situation. I mean, that's a lot more red tape, you know. And they've got their ways of putting loopholes and obstacles in your way to block those things. And the people are in the right places. See what I'm saying?
No, but the power is in the people. What it's going to take is getting the people together. Until we can do that, you know, we don't have money. So we have to depend upon the people. And we're going to have to somehow get these renters, get these homeowners, get these businesses, get the church, all to work together for a common cause. And you'll see a change.
When you say the people, all you're looking for is numbers?
That's what it's going to take. Numbers of concerned individuals concerned about a common goal and are willing to do certain things, like devote 2 hours a month to that common goal.
But how are you going to, okay, 2 hours a month. Okay, I see what you're saying there.
I mean, come and learn the facts. If you can learn the facts, that's education, and then you know what to do about certain things. For instance, this last election, this is a little political, but certain candidates should not have been reelected because of their position on this very area. Those candidates won by a landslide. So that let those candidates know they don't have to be concerned about this area.
What, I mean, one of the problems might be a lack of organization.
Lack of communication, lack of education.
You got to organize in order to get communication.
That's why I'm talking to you now. I need some help in getting them organized. That's what I'm talking about. So that those candidates who are hurting us can be kicked out. Or we can vote against them so strongly they become frightened and they will come to our cause and support our cause. Because most candidates do not like to be beat. Yeah. And then you become a force to be reckoned with.
How long have you been in the movement?
I've been in the neighborhood about 3 years, and I've been in the movement ever since I've been here, from the first day I walked in here.
Okay, this movement has been going on for some time, some years. What make you, I mean, what make you think it's gonna just ignite all of a sudden? I mean,
I don't know what it is, but I just
what are you gonna do different?
I got this. I got the track. You know, this is not my neighborhood, but I've become a part of it. And I cannot sit here and take this stuff sitting down.
Are you, and I mean, it could be off the record, are you involved, are you seeking any political edge?
I never held a political office in my life.
Or future?
My education background probably won't let me hold a political office.
So you don't have
it's not in education.
So this is a genuine concern for the Fourth Ward that you are out on this mission, if you will. I think the first thing Fourth Ward need to do is come closer to God. And be sincere, right? And if you come closer to God, all of these other things are automatically fall in place.
Yeah, but I want y'all to spread those ideas around. Talk to your friends about them. And we think it can be done. Reverend Smith has a copy of our tenants report on this area and what we feel. This is Allen Parkway Village community.
Sunday, March 18th. The Vietnamese residents of Allen Parkway Village celebrate Mass. Developer of the proposed housing project for the Vietnamese out by the airport has come to translate for Father Vincent. We want to ask Father Vincent about the cover letter he has sent to the Housing Authority.
The problem is they're going to take your letters and make it a part of a relocation plan that is going to be used as an excuse to tear down Allen Parkway Village.
Cũng cho người ta được một cái nơi khác mà được sự yểm trợ như vậy thôi.
He said, first of all, the way he sees is when the government decides to demolish this area, that will be to make the city look more beauty and create many more jobs for the people living in city area. The second thing is, he said the government will not abandon the poor people. They will assist the poor people in this area have housing somewhere else.
Allen Parkway Village in the shape it is because the government has already abandoned us.
Người thành phố như là đào tạo thế này, đang mở mang thế này, để một cái khu như thế này nó không có đẹp cho thành phố.
He said from his opinion is when we look the downtown, that's a beautiful area, and he himself feel like we should to redevelop this area, make the city look better than it is right now.
This place is going to be beautiful before it's done with. We already.
It was.
Now we're going to have it beautiful again. We're going to make it beautiful again. In mid-April, I want you to come to see some work that we're doing in the community building about mid-April, and we're going to show you some plans of how beautiful this place can look. When you move, this was built on a specific set of agreement and proposal, and in that agreement, they were supposed to provide the resident with certain services and certain benefits. And one of them is benefit for utilities. If they move to your development, Mr. Fan, are you going to be able to provide them the majority of their utility bills subsidized?
Right.